these ideas on the road because a lot of time to contemplate to myself and think on things, as well as what others have shared with me. Now, in my nomadic native life, I encounter many amazing beings, and so many amazing things have transpired recently. From singing with an orchestra and a symphony, Monterey Symphony, sharing culture, to hearing the pain and atrocious crimes against indigenous peoples, while these Bundy extremist, legitimate terrorists who are armed get off scot-free, and natives are being tased, pepper sprayed, hands, arms being broken, elders being disrespected, almost being hit, horses being killed, dogs attacking women and children. All for what? Trespassing on private property, which is technically stolen land. Now, if you go research what land is still within the grasps of natives, it is so very, very limited. And it's phenomenal. All of the indiscrepancies that people believe about natives to this day. It angers me. And I always try and be patient and remember some people don't know any better, some people are trying, some people really don't care, some are not passionate. It's fine. We all have different walks in life. What's frustrating, though, is because I'm a tokenized, romanticized, indigenous person who is very active in my community, people immediately gravitate to me, demanding attention, demanding education and knowledge and insight. Now, I can't be mad at them. I can't be frustrated at the ignorance. I can be frustrated at the environment that condones that type of behavior because it's a consumeristic mentality. It is legitimate colonial trauma that indigenous peoples have suffered post-contact, ongoing. Now, I try and remain calm and patient with those who want to learn. I love people who want to learn. I try and get a good idea of how deep down the rabbit hole they want to go, because I've been slapped in the face. In my efforts in re-educating myself and seeking more knowledge and a deeper understanding, when I finally had a grasp of solid information that I can convey, knowing they were solid truths, and knowing I was committed in offering truth in history as best to my ability and through whatever means possible, I interacted with someone and I released my knowledge. It was slightly bubbling over, just truthful facts along the line. And the person who had initially started a conversation and inquired interest was only looking for superficial interest. They wanted the rosy bits. And because I presented them with a little bit more than the rosy bits, they disengaged. And they kind of shrugged me off saying, yeah, well, whatever, it's over, get over it. And I'm sitting here like, I might be spewing out facts of the past that are no longer occurring, such as scalping, a non-native against native crime. Started first, then natives started doing it back. But when someone says it's no longer happening, let's focus on what's happening today, get over it, I pray for guidance, I pray for patience, I pray for love for this person who chooses to remain ignorant of all the colonial trauma that still continues on today. are so many things that are transpiring in Indian countries, so many things happening to indigenous peoples of all nations, of Turtle Island and of other countries, indigenous peoples. Colonization is painful to any indigenous nation. But it's so frustrating when someone says, oh, that old colonization, that old genocide, that old stuff back in the mission days in the 1800s and back in the gold rush. You know what? I just heard an ad on the radio about Yosemite, gold country, come on by. And I'm sitting here like, I recall a conversation I had with one of my indigenous cousins. And they showed me a flyer talking about something, bragging about gold country. And they had nothing about indigenous peoples. And I'm sitting here like, how can you conveniently sweep a piece of history away? Minutes before gold country was announced, the legitimate devastation to indigenous nations, to indigenous communities, was thoroughly given the green light. Legitimately a green light to saying, sure, eradicate these California natives. And this is the story that I'm familiar with. There are so many other amazing stories about other indigenous peoples. I'm not as familiar with them. I am passionate about truth and history. There's only so much I can focus on and hold and retain, as well as educate and engage. And they're not my roots. They're not my stories to tell. I can offer the knowledge I have and attempt to aid in connecting people with the right people who may share the story in a good way and the truth. But I can offer truth and history where I know it and how I know it. And what I know is lies are still being shared. I sadly poisoned myself by witnessing the comments against the no on DAPL and those who are on the side of the security and on pro-oil. And I get it. I am heavily reliant on oil. Most of my products I consume are petroleum-based and created. This vehicle is fueled. I get it. I know I benefit off of oil, but guess what? My effort is to attempt to educate and remind people that we do not need to be solely reliant on this. There are other ways. Back in the day, just like the milkman and the Coca-Cola bottles, what do? Create them, use them, recycle them, reuse them. We can go back there. The same way that our parents and great-grandparents and great-great-greats lived in a world without disposable everything. Single-serving items, plastic bags. They survived. We can do it too. We can do it better. We can be better. But the most painful part is seeing the ignorance and that people want to feel so entitled and privileged and high and mighty in their perspective. It's fine. I do not mind opposing views. I love them because that helps me understand another perspective. It gives me insight and understanding of something that I'm not familiar with, as well as the passion of somebody else on an opposing view of mine, and more education around the topic that I may be having an issue or striking an opposing thought against. So, and sometimes some people change my mind because I learn more. But when I witnessed all of the commentary against the indigenous peoples and against those who are protesting and being water protectors, when it is peaceful civil disobedience, the racism, the bigotry, the literal assaults against people, that Reno case, literally, temperature, my poor phone, literally, some being, Rev, their vehicle in a peaceful demonstration of protectors in Reno and ran over and hit people with their vehicle on purpose. There are people on their side saying, yeah, hit them drunk Indians. Now, I understand some people have unique histories engaging with different indigenous peoples. Some people have family ties, some people have their own perspective, and yes, there are legitimate colonial traumas that help with those stereotypes. Why do people engage with addictive substances? Usually because there is a catalyst. What kind of catalysts are what lead to addictive substances? When it comes to drugs and alcohol and inebriations, some type of trauma. Either trauma inflicted upon them, or their family, or their environment, something that they're dealing with, observing, and engaging with. This is a legitimate colonial trauma that has been going on for generation after generation. I'm not trying to validate actions of any addicts, but I am saying there's a reason, and we need to get to that root, that cause. And I am saddened by those who have been hurt by those relations who give a bad name to indigenous peoples, to those who have been inflicted with greed, with casinos, to those who are disenrolling our relations, to those who are addicted to substances and doing unscrupulous things, to those who are very angry and hurt inside and are doing negative things. That is not a representative of all of us. I'm saddened by the people who remain ignorant about indigenous issues and assumptions that they have come to thanks to media. Gee, has anyone ever thought who handles media? Let's see. Privileged, affluent, colonial. Let's see. The supposed winning team in history who helped write it. So we're talking about Americentric, post-colonial, affluent, privileged people of power who aren't usually people of color. Now with that, they're the ones who have control of the media. From back in the day, the good old westerns, where they validated shooting natives in the eyes, in a grave, and raping and pillaging, and singing, "Why is the red man red?" No native ever went, blah, 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 all freaking Hollywood. But no, everyone still assumes that. And oh, all natives have headbands and feathers in them, and oh, you're so pretty. I've been called exotic. I was about to say erotic. Exotic. As I was talking to someone in San Francisco in California. I am the closest to indigenous local, and I'm exotic. Oh, it's so exotic. Patience. I'm venting, I'm ranting, but I'm trying to get to a point here. Nomadic native, rambling rant on the road. It's that people aren't trying as hard to learn more. They would rather remain blissfully ignorant. Blissfully ignorant where their food comes from, blissfully ignorant where their news comes from, blissfully ignorant where the power dynamic is and the shift. And when they think they know better and project as if they know better, like, I know more about this issue than you, you need to humble yourself. You need to take a moment, step back and say, yes, I'm passionate about this. And if I'm so passionate, I'm not threatened. And I could hear a different view than mine because I'm very interested in what an opposing thought is. And if I'm so confident and passionate about my issue, nothing should hinder that. No. We have ignorance that is spewing into physical violence. We have hatred that is spewing into political trolling, into triggering assaults. It's just everything. It's just everything. People don't care about PTSD. People don't care about safety and well-being of the spirit. They're absent-minded of the sacred, and it's killing us inside. We are becoming numb. We are becoming drones. We're just turning into consumeristic drones, just waiting for the next sparkly to distract us. And I'm hurt. I'm sad. I'm in pain. I'm trying my best. I'm doing what I can with what I can, when I can, where I can. Following my passion. Educating people. Learning as much as I can. Exploring, interacting, engaging, thriving, and suffering. I want a beautiful world for the next generation. Their next generation. Their next generation. I want the earth to feel as though we're not a parasite. We're not a disease. We're meant to be caretakers, stewards of the land. Everything is shifted and off its rocker because indigenous practices haven't held steadfast. They have in some communities, but not as much with the general population. We need more decolonized practices. We need to interact with our indigenous roots. We need to have interactive conversations on how we can benefit from today's modern technology and conveniences paired and aligned with the well-being and diversity of caretaking the land and being true with the spaces that we call home and what we consider sacred. We need to align ourselves, our mind, body, and spirit, to what is best for us, what is best for our families, what is best for our communities, and what is best for our environment. And that starts with education. That starts with realizing truth. That starts with seeing other perspectives. And I do my best with what I can, where I can, and how I can. And I love that to those of you who follow and interact with me and engage with me and remind me that I hit some of you in the heart and the mind. I am a good looks. Or frustrate you. I don't mind getting into heated debates. Sometimes I'm not on my game. Sometimes I am. Sometimes I'm more willing to own up and say, you know what? All right. You may be right on this one. Or, you know what? Let's agree to disagree, or whatever comes around to. There are times where sometimes it's easier, sometimes it's harder. We have to realize ego is involved. But I just really, really, really want to witness more. We all need to do our part. We can't look to someone to fix it for us. We are the answer. That's that damn quote, be the change you want to see. Yeah. We can't look to a new president. We can't look to a new youth. We can't look to somebody to solve our problems and change protocol. We need to do it. From as simple as cleaning up our yards and our neighborhoods to changing the system and fixing the problems that we are witnessing. We need to be that change, and sometimes it takes some accountability. I own up. I'm pitifully reliant on oil, and I happen to vote with my dollar with products that are not really sustainable or respectful to the earth or people. Think about it. People are enslaved to bring and products we benefit from. How does that feel that slavery is still occurring in 2016 and you're benefiting from it? That child slavery is still occurring. That sex slavery is benefiting the affluent and those who believe they're above the law, because that power dynamic, that taboo, that control complex is just so enticing that they don't care about the well-being or welfare of other beings. That animals are being skinned alive for the benefit of their fur and hide, and you're enjoying them. I'm not trying to make anybody a vegetarian because I love my meat, but think about those beings. We don't even have a respectful relationship with living beings, even the plant beings. We need to have a reciprocal, respectful, and thankful and gracious interaction with everything around us. We need to be thankful for the food that's coming into our body. We need to thank that life that was lived and the gift that is given. To know where our sources come from. Yes, if we have to kill to benefit off of them, the least we could do is thank the life. The least we could do is offer a reasonable environment for them to sustain their life to benefit us. When it comes to the corn, when it comes to the meat, when it comes to everything, we need to have a thankful, reciprocal relationship. And we don't. And that's what's wrong with this world today. We're not appreciative, we're not thankful. We just take and take and take. And we need to have a better relationship with our environments, with our communities, with our families. And I'm just sad right now. I'm really sad. But there are moments where at the right time someone shoots a message and thanks me for something I said, or reaches out saying, I do need someone. And I'm so thankful that someone turns to me and thanks me, either that I could be a good ear listening to their story, if I could offer words or perspective on whatever I have interacted with, or that I inspired someone with me being me or something I said, or if I can offer words to others thanking them for their time and their patience or their words or their energies or their presence, because I am thoroughly grateful to all of those who hear me, who witness me. And even though sometimes I'm tired and frustrated or a little distracted and people come up to me saying, I've been your Facebook friend for a while, I'm so glad to meet you, I'm terribly sorry that I can't gush over you more. Sometimes I say thank you, that's cool. Inside, I'm actually really, really like jumping and excited. I'm sorry I don't get to express it, because at different windows of my time, I might be tapped out energetically, and I don't mean it to come off a certain way. I know many times some of my actions have been conveyed or interpreted as one thing, and it really wasn't. It's not that I didn't intend to do it that way. No, at that window of time, I did intend to act the way I did, but it wasn't exactly intentfully projected towards whoever may have interpreted something negative. Or have I said something negative that I don't mind someone interpreting as negative? I might stand corrected. I don't know. So, in this rant, in this ramble, I hope something resonated with you. I hope something inspires you or just hits you. Be hit by my words. Feel it. Be accountable. Because I'm talking to you. I'm talking to me. I'm talking to myself. Because nobody's here with me. You are. This nomadic native has got to sign off. I'm just being too silly right now. I have lots of love, and I really hope to make a more professional looking video. I need to actually do a legitimate introduction, a professional introduction, because people have known me for years and I still don't know what they do. Or sometimes I don't remember names very well, even people I've known for 20 years, and I feel horrible because, 20 years ago they said their name. And now every other time I run into them, we say, hey, how you doing? How's it going? We never say names back and forth again, so I'm sitting here like, I've known you. I really emotional introduction to you once more, so I'm going to find a way to do that. That is my next little emotional project, if I can fit it into all of the zillion things I'm interacting with as of late. I need clones. I need help. I need help. Psychologically, maybe. No, actually, like tangible help. Many of my friends have come to help me, and I'm very appreciative. I love more help, but I am thoroughly appreciative for all of those who have helped me to this day, in the past, for a moment, ongoing. I am thoroughly grateful.